You are now listening to the Mind Growth Mission podcast with David Schweit.
Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Yeah, I've been praying to the sky, I need some steady hope. If you had some guidance, would you let me know? Any doubts or something that you gotta go and get over, yeah. Get over, yeah, here we go. Nah, I'd never think, never see the day.
This is the Mind Growth Mission with David Schweit. And y'all, I got a really special guest here today. I have Carmen, aka Dr. G. And Carmen, thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for making me a part of this. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, it's amazing because this girl right here has impressed me, and I've only known her just a short while, but there's so much about you that I respect, that I love, that energy that you bring to the table and just help others heal. Not only like the presence you give me, but I know what you do, but I feel that. I realize why you're successful just from the short time knowing you. And that's why I chose to have her on, y'all. This is a very special woman with a lot going for her. But Carmen, let's go into the early Carmen, what life was like for you. Y'all, this story is gonna blow your mind. But let's start from the beginning. Who's young Carmen?
Oh, from the beginning. Okay, so I'm born and raised in East Europe in a country called Romania. And I was born in Bucharest, post-revolution, after the communism fell. And I grew up mostly with my grandparents on a farm in the mountains, close to Transylvania, where Dracula's at. And I feel like because of the way I grew up, I really learned to appreciate the important things in life. What like family and time spent with friends and time spent outside in nature and time reading and truly understanding that knowledge is power. And because I had that mindset, that is what gave me the capability of having more opportunity and taking advantage of those opportunities to be able to get out of Romania and come to the United States to study and to be where I'm at today. So yeah.
Well, it's quite the journey, guys. I got to know her a little bit in this short time, and for her to be here in Charlotte has been quite the adventure, even.
Yes.
But I want you to take us down that early childhood journey that led up to here. So being from Romania, life is different.
100%.
Life is hard.
Yes.
What were those conditions like? And she just told me this tonight.
Yeah.
Before this, but what were those conditions like growing up there in Romania?
Again, the city is a lot different than life up in the mountains. And believe it or not, people still live like this in some areas in Romania, where they don't have current water, where they don't have electricity.
Europe,
and other parts in Eastern Europe, of course, yeah. Where, again, they don't have current electricity, they don't have current water. So it's a matter of waking up early, going outside to the well to get that water, to bring it in, you're brushing your teeth and washing your face with cold water. And we're talking about when you're taking a bath, you have to heat up the water, and now you're combining the cold and the hot to just wash yourself. And there's no electricity, so that means if you want to read something, you're going to be in candlelight. If you're doing homework late at night, you're going to be in candlelight, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have that luxury of taking a 30-minute hot shower, which, by the way, when I remember when I came to America, that was like the most amazing thing I did. I was like not having to worry about being under hot water and not worrying that my mom's gonna be like, water's expensive. you need to get out of the shower right now. It's like, there's no like letting the water run for it to get hot because everything's very expensive. There is no leaving the lights on while you go upstairs to do something because you're going to hear, turn off the lights. Electricity is expensive, so you get into that mindset of being like, look, nothing is giving to you. Like you truly have to earn it. You have to obey and listen to your parents or to your grandparents and to understand that they're working really hard for the things that are giving to you. And that if you want more than what they're offering you, which is their best, right? If you want more than their best, then you have to do everything in your power to be able to get what best means for you. So does that mean, is it like a big house where you can take 30-minute long hot showers and not have to worry about the water bill? Or, like whatever best means for you, right? At the end of the day, we all have a version of what does my life want to look like. But because of those conditions and because of how I grew up as a child. And when I moved to the city, like we did have current electricity and we did have current water, but I mean there'd be days when we wouldn't have water for like a week as a pipe would be burst, and it would just take forever for water to come. So like right now, both my dad and my stepmom, my sister, a huge portion of my family is back in Romania, and ever since the Ukraine war started, like they haven't had hot water in their building in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And hot water doesn't just mean now taking a shower. It also means the fact that they don't have water that goes into the like the furnace that's on the wall that emanates heat, right? So they don't have heat. So unless you have unless you can afford to hire some sort of unit that's gonna not only just blow cold air but also hot air, you won't have heat, right? So people don't think about that. Honestly, people don't think about the fact that while we're wasting food here in America, or while we're wasting water, or whatever it is that we're wasting on some level, right? Other people prayed they had it. Prayed they had it, and we take it for granted.
Yeah, that's one reason why I wanted you to share your story, is the fact that we get caught up daily here, especially in America and in the States, having these things for us provided and easy access for most of us here, right? And we take for granted sometimes these things that are so nice and so clean and comparatively especially, but we just don't look at things the way we should daily, right? So a lot of what you came from helped you develop an awareness, a gratitude of
100%.
life, and an attitude on certain things, but there's more to that early childhood story, I know as well. You were telling me before this as well how strict it was. So not only were the conditions of maybe, I don't know if sanitation is the right word, or maybe just upkeep in general, or whatever the case may be, but like not only were those conditions harsh or rougher, it was also how strict the family environment was and things you were doing. And then you kind of realized that meant something for you later in life too. But what are some of those things from that nature of things for you? What did that look like?
So my parents were very strict, and of course, as a child, you're looking at, well, dang, all these other kids get to do like this, and that. Why can't I, right? And in that moment, as a kid, of course, you're like resent your parents, right? Because you can't do what everybody else is doing. Right. But I look back and at how I was raised, and how strict my parents and my grandparents were, and I am grateful for those things. Like truly, truly grateful, because all of those things have shaped me into the person that I am today, And when I say strict, I mean, we had to wake up at a certain time. We had to make our bed. We had to spend a certain amount of time in the bathroom. You had to eat breakfast. We had to go to school, and you get out from school and you would go to, I don't know, practice, or whether is it lessons for an instrument, or dancing lessons, or ballet, or judo, or whatever it was.
But everything was very structured and scheduled.
Very structured. Everything was on a schedule. Every minute of our day was scheduled. Every minute of our day was scheduled. And, our dad and our mom both always instilled in us the fact that, like, making your bed is the number one task of the day. And there was this thing around the fact that if you don't make your bed, then you're just going to have like a bad day. Right. So even now, all these years later, if I'm in a rush or whatever, I was like, oh my God, I got to make my bed or else I'm not going to have a good day. Like, I got to make my bed. It's there. And it's the fact that it's the first task of the day. And I know that if I made my bed, I'm ready to start on the remaining tasks of the day. And like we would come back from school, we'd have to eat, we'd have to nap. Like, napping was a must. We'd have to nap when we come back. And
you mean through school or through
no, like when
parenting?
we would get off, so we would get out of school and then we'd come home, we'd eat, right? We'd eat lunch. So school is different in Romania than it is here.
Okay.
So let's go back to this. So like first through fourth graders go to school in the morning. So usually you are done by like 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So then you're walking home, you're eating lunch. You're taking an afternoon nap, you wake up and you're doing homework, right? So after you do your homework, and there's always homework. I've never had a class in which I did not have homework. And after you do homework, then you do fun homework. It's called maculator, right? My dad used to like drive us crazy with it. So it's like, you have maculator. I was like, great, what is this? Well, we would have a book we would have to read. And then out of that book, we would get dictation. So grandma would dictate whatever book we had to read that week that my dad picked for us. We would read it, and then she would dictate out of that book a certain paragraph. And when she would dictate it, right, you have to write in cursive in your notebook to make sure you're listening to the intonation so that you can follow the punctuation. And at the end of that paragraph, she would look at it, she would grade it, and then if you had so many mistakes, you would do another dictation and another dictation. And the whole purpose of that is for you to get that task done without any mistakes.
Wow.
Sometimes that could have taken hours. Right? So
right. Everybody learns a little differently.
It's like,
so I'm putting myself in this position and imagining me really struggling with this. But you were born into it. It was routine. It was something that was led by the family, and it was just instilled in you to do, and you just got better at it, right? I'm sure there were days where you didn't want to do it, and
I still had to do it.
and you still had to do it. And life's a lot like that too. And but getting these qualities early, you definitely probably formed some resentment, I'm sure. But, looking back at it, it's like, wow, like the things I've heard from you before we even spoke here, and about how you are as a person and what you're about now, especially like all these like learned behaviors and adaptations, they've led you to where you're at now, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people going back there, they realize how they are and why they are, and once you start figuring that out, it helps mold you into purpose, passion, career, things you can be a high achiever at. So moving on from that, let's move a little bit forward in your storyline here. You went to, was it high school or college in the States?
I went to college.
College in the States. So what got you to college in the States, and what was that experience like?
So I was in medical school in Romania, and just kind of realized going through that there was just not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for me getting out, because I realized, I was like, man, I don't want to be a doctor and have to take things from people just to be able to look at them, and unfortunately in Romania that is a thing. People like either paying people off just for them to look their way or bringing a gift. And I just looked at it and I was like, I don't have it in my heart to take something from a person just to be able for me to survive and look at them. So, I had talked to my dad about it.
Wait,
and
can you be a little more specific about that?
Yeah, so
Like
for
an
example,
yeah.
an example of it, okay? So I remember growing up and going to the doctor with my grandparents, and they would always be really stressed out about going to the market so that they can buy coffee and having a certain amount of cash. So when they would go to the doctor, they would give them this gift in a gift bag where it was like whatever expensive coffee was, and then cash separate from that, right? So that has become a habit in our society. Wherever it is that you're going, you have to bring money to the table, in spite of the fact that those people are paid. And reason why is because everybody's underpaid. It's underpaid and overworked. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's become like a stigma in our society for that to happen. It doesn't matter where you go. So like
Yeah.
I had to have had an issue here in the States. I had to have multiple surgeries. It wasn't getting better. Finally, I called my mom, and I was like, look, like they've already cut me like several times. This is not getting better. So she said, it's okay, just come to Romania. We'll get you fixed up here. So I go, when I go there, I was like, okay, well, how much money do I need to bring? And what else do you think I should get? So she's telling me, oh, just bring Victoria's Secret for the nurse, Victoria's Secret for the doctor, Victoria's Secret for this person, and then have this much cash. So I'm going in at this point, I'm letting them know what my problem is. And at the end, after the surgery and everything is done, like here's the gift for the nurse, here's the gift, for the doctor. But before that even happened, like just when I went in for my first appointment, I gave money to both of them in an envelope.
Wow. So where we're at with this, let's rewind. So they're already paid because it's Europe kind of
Right.
thing, right? They're already making money due to their profession, and
Right.
you don't pay healthcare the same way out there.
No.
But you have the rules
Yeah.
that are out there in place with the societal norms, where you're actually giving gifts and money to actually be able to see a doctor, basically, because of just how. Would you
You're
say
going to be
that's
treated differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you don't do those
Oh,
things,
okay,
you're going
yeah.
to be treated differently.
Okay.
Like the more money you pay, the more you bring to the table, the whatever gift of whatever value you bring, the higher that, the more of a special
And
treatment.
this would be a lot of people in an area or just in that.
This is everybody. This is everybody in the entire country. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if
Well,
you're
what
up
I'm
in-
saying is a lot of those people were already strapped
Oh, yeah.
for having money or
Oh, yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
But they would have to go dig in them pockets and be even more stressed out.
100%.
So it would force them into a bad position. And you didn't feel like doing that for people.
No,
So you
because
had to
I
talk with your
looked-
dad.
I
about
looked
that.
at these old people coming in from villages, like the villages that I grew up in, where I knew like
Yeah.
the way they make money is, agriculture mostly, or like animals,
right.
whatever. And you see them and they come and they literally have nothing, and you see them pulling the money to put in the pocket of the doctor, and then the doctor looks at them.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do this, because I was looking at those people and I'm like, they're like my grandparents, like my grandparents' age. Like, I just can't do that. So I talked to my dad about this opportunity, and I ended up coming to the United States. And, I just, initially I was supposed to come to medical school here, but it wasn't the way I expected it to be, because I needed a green card. I couldn't go to medical school on a visa, all these different things. So I practically had to restart my bachelor's like all over again. It was crazy. So, yeah.
And by this point, you knew English, right?
Yeah, I spoke English
Okay.
already. Yeah,
Okay.
I spoke English. Of course, I didn't know all the slang terms and stuff like that.
Now
so
you know them all.
Now I know them all. Well, maybe not all, but majority of them. I've been here long enough to know majority of them. But and it was a culture shock.
Yeah.
It was a real culture shock. I mean, I was here 4.5 months, and I went home and I was like, I'm not coming back. Like, there's no way. It's just, I can't do it. Nope, can't do it because it's just, I don't know. It's a variety of reasons. I don't know if you want me to get into the details of that, but to me it was I felt like people were very entitled. I felt like school wasn't serious. I felt like everybody was just kind of going through. A lot of people were partying. A lot of people didn't know direction in which they were going. They didn't know why they were studying where they were studying.
And these are observations here when
Here.
you're in the States, and
Yeah.
after 4 months, you were second guessing being
Yeah.
here.
Like I actually went to Romania and I was not gonna come back.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that I was in the in school with that was like, just come back, give it another chance. Just
So you did go back to Romania.
yeah, I went back to Romania and I was not gonna come back to the States after after that first semester.
Wow.
I was like, I'm not going back. I'll figure things out here. I'll reapply for school,
Yeah.
get back to medical school, and maybe just get out of Romania and go practice somewhere in Europe where it's not as bad as it is here, right? But at the end of the day, the reason why I wanted to be a doctor is because I wanted to give back, and I wanted to be a doctor practicing in my country because I wanted to give that care to my grandparents, to my parents and to my family. And yeah, like I remember coming home and talking to my mom and to my dad, and I was just like so depressed, and I was like, I don't really know if I want to come back. And on this end, I'm having these people like trying to convince me to come back because I didn't really like give it like my all. I just kind of looked at it only with the outside lens and not the inside, and there's so much more. And at the same time, it was also the fact that I was alone, away from home, and
There's multiple layers.
yeah,
going on.
I found like I didn't feel like I had any real friends. I felt like people were using me a lot because I was smart and I was giving and I was kind, and
Great qualities to have.
yeah.
But they do
people
get
didn't-
abused. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
people
do.
did not value that, and that was the thing. Like I felt like people, at least the people that I met, had no honor, and those are very important values for me that were instilled in me from a very young age. Like, be honorable, live in integrity, do as you say that you're gonna do. Like your word is everything. All you have is your word. If you make a promise, keep it. And people just kept saying things and then just would never do it. And I'm like, this is crazy.
And we're going to college years
Yeah.
or specialized
Yeah.
college years, like because you said medical to medical.
Yeah, so I
it's like
I
grad
ended up
school
when I
phase?
went to when I ended up going to Texas, I ended up doing the bachelor because you have to have a bachelor
Yeah.
to be able to go
So
into
this is like
medical.
early college.
Yeah.
All
I was
this
like
is going through your head. You're
18.
observing all this at
Yeah.
that time. I love the word you use, honorable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's been used on the show yet. I appreciate it. But it's such a clutch, like amazing word choice. I love it. My mind keeps going back to that since you said it. Because if we were to live a life that's an honorable life, you're excelling in all areas, right? You're being the person that you want to receive, right, in life, and that's just amazing word. I mean, guys, you got to think about it. When you see somebody from another country that's out here in our country, the sacrifices they made, how they probably feel alone, and how hard they had to work to even get here in the first place. And you mentioned the visa and the green card and all the stuff that goes along that you got to think about. Like, there's so many different challenges they run into. So when you do see these people that are, let's just say what it is, an immigrant, right, from another country, that should be something that's impressive, that you want to accept, that you want to be a part of and uplift, because they're here sacrificing so much, so far away from their family, et cetera, right? And that's one of the reasons too that I wanted you to share your story today, because I just think it's so impressive. I've been able to travel all over the world and realize how special people are out there, and how much harder they seem to work in a lot of other societies at times too. because that's just how they're raised, and they really are leveling up in education in other places in the world because they're really instilling that in their youth and everybody else. Yeah, they're working their butt off, but like these people are going to run the world one day, literally. And we got to really like be a better people in society in general. And that's everywhere. But I think you get where I'm going with this too. It's just so impressive to me, somebody that's on this journey, taking this risk. This is why I'm doing the show. I want people to share their stories of risk taking and overcoming adversity and those challenges in life and the things they're faced with, and using their tools and their knowledge. And she had to lean on the family and other people, and even go back to the home roots to really find the next thing for you, right? Like, oh, it's okay to go back. Like, it's not a failure. It's like, hey, this is what I need to do right now. Let me see where this part of my journey takes me. So now we're at that part where you've been in the States, you've made your observations, then you went back home.
Yep.
And you said it was a friend or a family member that kind of got you back out here. Kind of, I don't know if we.
It was a friend back in the States that
Okay.
just told me, and he was an immigrant himself. And he knew what I
in the
had
medical
gone through.
in the medical field at the school as well, or
No, so I was studying biology chemistry
Okay.
when I did. Yeah, and he was a chemical engineer. And I actually worked as a tutor in the math department because I was really good at math because of that. Thanks, Dad, for all those maculator hours that I didn't want to do. But yeah, so I was working in that department. I was tutoring him, for his like math classes, and he understood a lot of the things that I was going through because he grew up in a different country and then he came here later on, so he got to experience what I was going through. So he pretty much became a rock for me. And then through that, when I got back, I realized that there was a huge community of foreigners at this school.
Hey.
And it was, it was because of him, because he said, look, like you're not alone. Like there's a lot more. And I feel like, for me, it felt like there was nothing else. I'm like, where? Where? Show me. Like,
Yeah.
Where is this
You
more?
needed that. You
Yeah,
needed
because
that.
I needed this. So I got involved with the Student for Global Connections, and I actually started the Romanian Student Association at that university.
Hey.
It's like, yes, here's the
Amazing.
Romanian Student Association. So, and because of that, I got to meet people from around the world, and I got to teach people about my culture. Like, we do this every year. We did this thing called the International Talent Show, and I got to perform traditional music and traditional attire every single year. And then, as the circle of friends grew bigger, and now I actually got to meet people that enjoy doing like the things that I did. So now I'm building different types of relationship with foreigners that value the same things that I value. And now I got to the point where I built a support system, which I didn't have. And I realized once I had that support system, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And not only that, but I got involved. When I'm telling you I got involved in everything, okay? Like I was part of the African Student Association. I was part of Unidos por un mismo idioma. And I remember that's how I met one of my good friends, Lisa. And I told Lisa, I was like, look, I want to get really good at Spanish. So from today on, you're not speaking any English to me going forward. Sometimes she'd be speaking to me. I had no freaking idea what the heck she was saying. And I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. But that pushed me out of my comfort zone because I knew that was a goal for me. Being fluent in Spanish was a goal for me and pushed me out of my comfort zone. And not only do I speak fluent Spanish now, but I can salsa and samba and cha-cha and do all that stuff because I got to hang out with them and I got to experience their culture, their food, their dances, their culture, their traditions. So that expanded my horizons. And then, hanging out with the African Student Organization, like I got to see what different cultures are in different African countries, and I got to experience different food, and I got to learn all about their attires and their culture, and I got to learn a little bit of Igbo and a little bit of Yoruba and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it was just awesome. And next thing you know, now I'm part of everything and everybody, and I'm walking through school and I know so many people, and it's just great because these students were students that were also like, I guess you could say like first generation, or maybe they had just arrived here, or maybe they were international students. Like a lot of them were international students, and they value the same things.
Wow.
So that became my support system.
That's an amazing story. I love it. And it makes me hope that there's younger people listening to this, watching this, because that's part of the college experience I regret. Honestly, I don't have regrets in life, but I would say regret. Like I wasn't involved as much as I wanted to be looking back at it with these things that create a support system and create fulfillment and just help you find that passion in life, right? Like you were so involved with these things, putting yourself out there to become more cultured, but it led to a support system and everything else too that you got to learn and be involved with. And that's something for these younger people. Guys, if you have young kids or anybody that you know that's younger, please have them listen to this, because that's one thing that most of us probably listen to this than with a 4-year college university in the States probably regret not doing enough of, is just getting involved. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's a key factor, is just get out there, do some uncomfortable stuff, do some stuff that'll stretch you and make you more cultured or make you better at socializing or whatever the case may be. Because life's not just a party. In college, it might feel like it, but there's other ways to embrace life and to make an impact and to really enjoy life. And I think that's one thing that I do wish I did more of in college. So your story, to hear that, is awesome. Hope younger people are listening. Hope it helps motivate them to do something more and just get out there. You got this young lady here coming from Romania, making this stuff happen. And, why not you? Why not you to make a difference and to just get out there and see what you're capable of? Just put yourself in front of others, see how it changes their lives, and ultimately it's going to change your life. And I'm pretty sure it did that for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh, it sure did. It really made college an amazing experience, after that first year. And because of that, because stepping out of that comfort zone, I got to meet one of my biggest mentors, Dr. Toda. I don't know if this is ever going to get to you, but shout out to Dr. Toda. I mean, and, she was like, oh my God, you went to what school? And you know how much math? And I was like, okay, you got to become a TA, and here I am, undergrad level, being a teaching assistant for grad level classes. Like, it was amazing, but again, it's about who it's about putting yourself out there, it's about getting out of the comfort zone, it's about taking the risk and being uncomfortable. It's okay being uncomfortable so that you can elevate yourself and discover more about you, who you are, about life, about the people that are lined up there for you, either to stay or to teach you lessons or to help you grow. So for me, it ended up being a great experience.
That takes me to another point too. Just by putting yourself out there, no matter how uncomfortable or how not ready you are for that moment or how awful you may think you appear, there's somebody that is going to be looking out for you. Just because you're putting yourself out there, there's typically some people that truly care and see that you're making that effort, and they want to look out for you and help you grow. They want you to become comfortable because they see that you're actually just taking that step, how little it may be, or big or little. But like, let's say it is just a small step just to show up, but they see that you're uncomfortable not speaking. Well, there's going to be somebody there that has, influence or is charismatic or is a higher up or mentor type of profile that'll come to you and be looking out for you. Because what did we say earlier, right? With the leaders, develop other leaders.
Develop other leaders.
They will see that somebody's making an effort. Yep. So no matter how silly you look, there's going to be there's going to be somebody there that's going to love that and know that they can mold it or appeal to you or make a connection with you that may change your life, And it's cool you bring up a mentor and then drop the name like that, because there's definitely people in my life and most of our lives listening, I'm sure, that like stand out. Okay, that was a life-changing person.
Oh
Like,
my God, yes.
I don't know
Yes.
like how that direction would have went if I didn't have them, right? Like, it's great. So that's awesome. That's something that I really wanted to make sure we made a point of here. But there's also, did you tell me this? You played a sport too in
Yeah, I play
school?
college rugby.
College. This girl played college rugby too, guys. Like, she's full of surprises. So just so y'all know, she's a badass and a really cool chick. Great smile. She's working her butt off. She's even helping me with things behind the scenes, and just an amazing person. But I want y'all to realize how she got there. You know, that's the key piece. It's some of those things that she had to battle internally as well. Not everything was picture perfect. She already told you about the early childhood struggles. She told you about the struggles through college and some of the issues she had to face with that, and battling her mind of whether or not she should even be here. But there's also more to the story that I'd like you to share, that as you're developing even more so, maybe through college, through more school, some other things started to occur, and you had some other awakenings that we'll get
yeah.
to, right?
Plenty of
right.
awakenings. Plenty of awakenings. I'm not sure which direction do you want me to go with this. So you just let me know.
There's just so much to you, girl. I just want you to take it and run with it, please.
Take it and run with it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was. I didn't realize for the longest time. I just kept reliving the cycle. I kept reliving the cycle, and I kept asking, like, why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why can't I, like, just have like this life that I wish for, right? This like beautiful life that other people have that I don't have. Like, I don't get it. Why can't I just have this one best friend that's like my sister, or why can't I just have this one best friend that's like my brother? And why can't I do things? So, anyways, I was a victim of my circumstances. Yeah. I was a victim of my circumstances. Like I said, yeah, I did not have the best childhood, and then, my parents weren't perfect, and again, I didn't have. How do I put this? Let's put it this way. So I grew up with an alcoholic dad, okay, and narcissistic bipolar mom. And, I grew up with abandonment issues, grew up depressed and anxious, and it took me, I was 29, I believe, 28, 29, when I finally realized what was wrong with me, But it took almost 19 years of being in therapy, being on different medications, getting a bunch of different diagnoses where like the meds weren't making anything better, or I would get better for a while and then get back in the dumps, and it was just always like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with me? Just what is wrong with me? Because a pill's not going to fix you. It's going to maybe balance out the biochemistry of the brain for a little while. But going and talking to someone, yeah, it's great. But if you're not doing the work, if they're not giving you homework, if they're not putting you on the spot and being like, this is what the hell's wrong with you, and you're not doing the work, like, you're not going to advance. You're not going to evolve. And for the longest time, I lived that life. And, it took me getting into chiropractic school to realize, I remember it clear as day. I went to this talk that a friend of mine encouraged me to go talk to, and everybody was talking about, Dr. Brett Jones. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? I'm just like, okay, whatever. Let's just go check this guy out. It's like, whatever. And then he shows up, and I was like, oh, dang, okay. I was like, he's hot. So
Okay.
I was like, he's hot. All right, let's listen to what he's got to say. But and then he came with this other doctor, Dr. Caitlin Reimer, and I just started talking, I just started listening to them. And oh my God, their life stories were like so similar to mine. Like here's like Dr. Bill Jones talking about his trauma and everything he went through as a kid, and him feeling like emotionally disconnected from his mom and having to heal his abandonment wounds from his mom because his mom like kept leaving him and whatnot, and wasn't emotionally present there the way she should have been. Here's Dr. Caitlin Reimer talking about like the trauma she went through, and which I don't want to get into the details of it, but I was like, wow, I'm like, went through the exact same thing. And then they're saying, you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. You just have to be tired of your shit and want to do something about it to change it. Because if you don't heal it, you're going to continue to project this on people, and you're going to be stuck in that same cycle, and you're going to relive the same things. And the only thing you're going to elevate and evolve in your life and be this person that you want to be is by healing your trauma. And it took that talk for me to be like, holy shit, I'm traumatized. I've been traumatized. Like, I've never actually used that word until, I went to that talk previous to that seminar. And I was like, I remember I was so moved by their talk. I was really hot. Like, my head was really hot. My hands were really cold, and I was shaking. And I just was holding on to my tears as I was holding on to, like, I felt like I was holding on to my life. And I just had to walk out. And when I walk out, it just all came out all at once. And I'm just crying. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be the mom that I want to be. I'm never going to be the wife that I want to be. I'm never going to be the doctor that I want to be, because I have all this shit pinned up in me and I'm projecting it on everybody else. And until I heal myself, I'm never going to be able to heal someone else. No matter how much I want to give back, no matter how much good I want to do, I am going to bleed on people who didn't cut me. And I remember calling on the way home and just having this exact same conversation, like just like this, having this conversation with my friend on the phone. And I was just so excited when I got home. Like, I remember the first thing I did is I just went and I opened this book and I just started reading and writing down notes. And I was like, okay, I need a plan on how to tackle this and how to start healing. And like, where do I start? What do I do? How does this start? And for me, from there on, it all became a quest of taking all these possessions that I had, all this money that I had, everything that I had, getting rid of it to have the finances necessary to get into as many seminars as possible, and to meet all these different doctors, and to see what their life story was, and to see what made them successful, and to see how did their healing journey begin. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that life took me down the path it took me. And like I said, it was a very traumatizing path. It was a very hard path, but I'm very grateful for it, because life doesn't just give you challenges and that's it. Like, you really have to embrace those challenges, because when you embrace them, you are really going to find out what you're made out of, and you're really going to find out how strong you are. And when you ask, God, the universe, for strength, he's going to give you challenges, and when you realize that life, just doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, it's when everything changes. When you stop asking, oh, why me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me in this moment? What is the bigger picture of this? Again, things just start changing for you. And that's how my journey, began. Like, I started going to all these seminars and meeting these doctors and listening to their stories. And I literally just went up there and, I remember going to a seminar once, and the doc just straight up came at me and he's like, you exude masculine energy. And I'm just like, okay, okay, I exude masculine energy, and like, where are you going with this, So we're having this conversation, and he's telling me that, I exude masculine energy because I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And he was right, I didn't feel safe.
This is prior to your breakthrough, or
This is
after your breakthrough?
This is already, like, I had that breakthrough, and
Right.
now we're getting to the nitty gritty
Now
parts,
you're trying to go on your quest.
Right, I'm going on my quest.
Okay.
But remember, just because you had a breakthrough doesn't mean all your self-limiting beliefs now are like erased and everything changes,
like you said, where do I start from here?
Right, where do I start from here?
That's why you're going to the seminars, and then this one
Right,
guy kind
and
of
then this
calls
one
out the
guy
energy.
just calls me out. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, dang. Okay, I was like, well, maybe this is why I don't have girlfriends. I don't know. Maybe this is why I get along with dudes better than I get along with girls. I don't know. So then, I'm having a conversation with him, and he just tells me how I really need to embody my feminine energy, and I'm over here like, what the heck does this mean? Like wearing a dress or something? Like,
And you're a weightlifter, former rugby player.
yeah, I'm like riding motorcycles. I'm tatted up. I'm lifting heavy weights, and
so
I'm ready.
You were ready for somebody to say, focus in on that feminine
You
energy.
exude masculine energy. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, for the longest time, like I remember when I first came to America, everybody thought I was gay. Because I was very tomboyish. That was it. That was like my attitude towards everything, and I just didn't let anybody mess with me. And I honestly think that's because I was bullied, growing up in school and everything. So I remember finally standing up to my bully, and after that, nobody messed with me. And after that, it's kind of like I portrayed this like tough girl energy, so like people don't mess with me anymore. So I had to.
So you embodied it.
I embodied it.
That was you. That was your
me.
identity at that point.
That was,
after
yeah.
you saw that it conquered something for you in your life.
Yeah.
You took that over.
Yeah, but it's also what I attracted, right? Because what you embody, you attract. Right. So I wasn't attracting the things that I wanted because I wasn't embodying the things that I wanted. I was embodying, a Carmen that was hurt, that was scared, that was still in that victim mentality, that thought everybody in this world is going to hurt her or want something for her, is going to use her, and is going to hurt her or bring her pain, like whatever it was. And it took him telling me that, and I remember, and I had a deep conversation with him about so many different things, and I realizing I was smoking weed every single day. Like, I started my day with it. I ended my day with it. I'd go home for lunch for it just because I wanted to escape the reality I lived in. And I was like, I'm not addicted, right? Because everybody says, oh, I'm not addicted. I'm not addicted to this. I'm not addicted to that. But when you have to use alcohol and marijuana to get through your day because you think it's relaxing you, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're running from yourself. You're running from the things that you don't want to deal with. You're running from not battling your demons, because all you're doing is you're escaping your reality because you don't want to live it. Right? So when he told me that, and I remember clearly, he said, you're using it to escape yourself and to fight the demons that you need to fight to be the highest version of yourself. And this should be used in a ceremonial, medicinal manner only. So you know what I did that day? I quit smoking pot. Like cold turkey.
Wow.
Just quit smoking pot. And that was it. Like, that's what I'm saying. It was just like one thing after another. And then, then I quit like drinking alcohol. And then I started like paying more attention to the music that I was listening to. I started paying attention to the people that I was talking to, the people that I was following on social media. I remember at one point, you know how social media now tracks how many hours you spend per week on social media.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I remember going on there, and I had wasted 24 hours of my life in a week.
Wow.
Right? That's a day out of my life in a week on social media.
Well, our society now can absolutely relate to that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Guys, when you think about it, 24 hours in a week is very
That's a day
extreme.
that I spent it. Yeah.
But so many people can relate these days, and you start to realize that was taking a toll. But what?
I realized that I was not investing my energy in the things that were going to heal me, that were going to make me be a better person, and that were going to elevate me to be this being that I was meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Because we do so many things because of the pressures of society nowadays, I feel like, because we want to be accepted, because we want to be included, and because of my abandonment issues, I had become a people pleaser, and I realized I had no boundaries. I didn't know how to say no, and I would have so many things like school. Chiropractic school is so hard. It's like drinking from the fire hose. You're taking 13, 16 classes in like 11 weeks, and it's just as hard as medical school. And
Yeah.
I just remember people would ask me for stuff, and I would say yes because I didn't know how to say no, but it would set me behind, and then I would be anxious about being set behind, and then I would have a panic attack, and then now I'm spending time trying to calm myself from the panic attack, and it was so exhausting.
So how many years of buildup was maybe that specific thing though? Like is
To create boundaries, to
well,
finally
no,
have
no,
boundaries.
no, but because what you're saying is that you had so many areas that were kind of compounding.
Yeah.
You were saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
Then you
I
were
was
using
people-pleasing. I
alcohol.
was using alcohol,
You
I
were
was using-
using weed. How long was that cycle of that stuff going
and
on?
off. On and off.
Yeah.
From the moment I came to America at like 18 until I went to chiropractic school.
At
28, 29?
wow. So it's easy for us to like do something for a year that's harming our body or our mind, and like it's now it's a habit.
Yeah.
Now it's something I accept that is part of my identity, but we're not thinking about it that way. It's just okay. It's there. I can do it. Like it's helping me with other stuff, right?
And
but then there you had these epiphanies of like, holy crap! So much of my life is starting to get wasted
Yeah.
with stuff that is not helping me get any further or better. So how many of us can relate to that? I would say anybody and everybody listening, anybody watching this right now.
Yeah.
I know I have been there with a lot of different factors in my life. And still to this day, we have to work on these things that, are detrimental to how we want to live our true life. That we still have these struggles and these battles, no matter who you are, where you're sitting right now. I know that's the case. And I appreciate you sharing that part of this because it's so real. Every freaking person in this world can relate. And we just don't realize how that compounding effect really takes its toll in your life and over time. And that it's literally can become years wasted. Like I do feel that like I've almost wasted years, but I've enjoyed life. Like I have no regrets other than what we shared earlier, right? But as far as like years that could have been made or time that could have been made more essential to the way I want to truly live my life, you got to get to some realizations at some point. But it's a lot. It's a lot. So the fact that you're on this show right now doing that, that's basically the whole reason I want people to hear this story. Because like you said, it's like this person that's so regimented and strict and structured and routine, medical school, still had these struggles, these battles, these harmful things they were doing to themselves and maybe to others, but you were a pleaser, so maybe not. But you know what I mean? It affects everything in your universe, in your life. That's the whole reason I'm doing this show, to show that anybody can change at any given point in their life. And oftentimes a lot of things have to happen for you, right? They may seem like they're happening to you, but once you realize they're happening for you, and you got to read those signs and feed into it and research and discover more of that, then you start to see some of that awakening, some of those epiphanies of what you can be and who you can truly be and where you are and what you want out of life. And that's amazing. So we're there. We're getting to the point where, okay, the shift's occurring.
Yeah.
The shift's
Shift is
occurring in
occurring.
your life, age 29-ish. You had this guy call you out about your masculine energy. We're over here with with weed and drinking and helping everybody we can just because we think they do. I don't know. What was your mindset with some of that? Like as you were shifting, you said cold turkey. You quit what? Which one?
Weed.
Cold turkey.
Quit
I know
cold
a lot of
turkey.
people that were smoking and they can't do that. Like
Yeah.
100%.
I just
I know people that did it all
I'm
day,
literally
every day,
like, I'm
so.
telling you, I went home, I took it off, flushed it down the toilet, took all that stuff, went and took it to a friend that I used to smoke with, and I said, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I have to deal with my demons now. I don't know if I'm battling them in the closet or in the bathroom or wherever I'm battling them, but I
what's going to happen.
I was like, I'm fucking ready. Let's do it. But yeah, because I had already quit alcohol up to that point because by the time I got into chiropractic school, I had severe post-traumatic stress disorder. I had a service dog. I had severe depression, anxiety, and like mood swings that came with that, severe insomnia, night terrors, the nightmares. I remember my first time going into class and just having a panic attack, being around hundreds of people in that classroom. I was like, I cannot be in here. I was so paranoid to be in there. I couldn't go into a supermarket during the day. I would literally go like after midnight. Go to my dog or I would order my groceries just because of my social anxiety was like so bad. And you have to realize I wasn't like that, right? It took all those years and all that trauma and all those repeating those cycles, getting in those relationships with like narcissistic partners or friends and going through that trauma over and over and over again. And it was always like, why am I attracting this type of person? Why am I attracting this type of person? Why am I attracting this kind of friends, these kind of partners? So by the time I made it to Georgia, I was just like scared of my own shadow. Let's put it that way. I did not feel safe. I did not feel safe. I did not know what safety was. And I didn't know what it was like to have a day and not have a panic attack. Didn't know what it was like. So, so much brain fog. I couldn't think, couldn't read. I had already been dealing with traumatic brain injury, and it was like, it's like a vomit of things. You know what I'm saying? It's just so many things.
Well, yeah. So what I'm hearing, and correct me in any instant here, but what I'm hearing is that like all these things started to add up, and then your identity started to accept that, and then you were like, okay, this is just what I am, who I am, and what I have to deal with, and it just is what it is. Like I can always try to get better, but I'm not. But you're not really trying, right?
Yeah.
You didn't cut the things out of your life you needed to yet. Like you didn't do any of that yet. So you're like,
and why?
It's still
society's normalizing that.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, I'm Carmen. I got PTSD. Oh, hi. Well, I'm depressed. Well, I'm just an asshole, and that's just who I am. So I'm not going to change.
And it's just an acceptance within you,
it's just,
and
so
with
then
society too.
You're just like, okay, well, I guess this is who I am, and it's not going to get better than this. So, okay, you either have to take it or not. I mean, I don't know. How many people out there have a partner that is like, well, this is just who I am. No, this is who you choose to be. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice. You could choose to be kind, or you could just be an asshole.
You choose to make your bed.
You could choose to make your bed or not make your bed. You could choose to brush your teeth and not brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You choose to you could choose to get angry in traffic, or you could choose to let that person go about their day.
Exactly.
Happiness, is a choice. Happiness is a choice, and everybody chases it. Chases it. It's like, oh, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. You can be happy right fucking now.
Right now.
Right now.
Let's
you can
go.
be happy. Like, you could get up and realize
100%.
that you're fucking breathing, and you should be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because someone right now, whether it is somebody you might know or somebody in this country or in another country or something, wishes they had one more hour, one more day, one more week with a loved one. And what are we doing nowadays? we throw ourselves a pity party, and we're in a victim mentality, and we step into ego and with pride, and we say, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change. I'm already old. I'm stuck in my ways, and nothing's going to change for me, and either you take me as I am or you don't. And what do people do? They fucking settle. They settle because they think they're not going to find better. And guess what? You're not going to find better unless you decide to be better.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right. So whatever your circumstances are right now, you choose that. Like, you chose that. Whatever your
100%.
circumstances are right there, you chose that. Are you in a shitty relationship and you're unhappy and you feel unfulfilled? Leave. Leave and realize that you have to get out of that relationship. You have to go work on your shit, battle your demons, deal with it, and really become the best version of yourself, because your partner deserves the best version of yourself.
So powerful. So true.
Just like your child deserves the best version of yourself, your parents deserve the best version of yourself. Yeah, my parents were the way they were, but like for the longest time, I blamed them, and I hated them that, you could have done better. You could have done more. You didn't have to be the way you were, and you messed me up. Like, you fucked me up. I got abandonment issues because of you. But guess what? Our parents did their best with the resources they had. And nowadays we have other resources that they didn't have. We have more and more people awakening, more and more people out there influencing, more and more people out there offering services for you to better yourself. Our parents didn't have that.
Right.
I hate it when people are like, just, well, I don't know. Oh, where can I find this? Or where could I find this? And I'm like, Google it. Like, you have the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And all you freaking have is excuses. All you freaking have is excuses. Don't tell me this is how you are, or you just don't know where to start, or you just don't have the money. You have the freaking money to drop a K on an iPhone every freaking year, but you don't have the money to start your business.
Let's go. Absolutely.
You have the money to put the Botox in your face, but you don't have the money to go out there and learn a new skill set or get better at what it is that you love.
And where are your priorities?
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that's so true, so real. And it made me, sorry to interrupt, because I was
on fire. It's like,
I love this. Yeah, keep going. But no, so you mentioned that alcoholic dad, right? Both of my parents had alcoholic dads. Both of them come from poverty and harsh conditions growing up. My dad always bettered himself, always educated, always did these things. And it reminds me, like, he didn't take that victim mentality, man. He went after things. He went to seminars. So, old school, like, nobody was looking out for you. No, but you could pay for shit, So he went out of his way, paid for stuff. I know he got 3 degrees. He was doing night school, hardworking man, never made 6 figures, but he's successful and he's great. And he's my dad and he's amazing. But to hear his story and to hear your story, even though you're on different parts of the world, let's say like where you're from, but similar backgrounds, like, it goes to show you can change. That change starts with you. Yeah. It's internally of what you choose and what you decide. My dad could have had that mentality of like, we're not supposed to be anything because we come from nothing. Right. He changed that shit around and is a successful, retired, amazing human being. My mother as well. They've been retired for a long time. They worked their butts off to get out of those situations. A lot of people don't realize that shift is such an internal shift that you have to make. You can blame all day, make excuses all day, but when you actually start to point at yourself and accept that and really understand,
take responsibility for your shit. Yeah.
Once you start to do
that's major.
Then let's go starts to occur, and that's when it may be painful and really tough.
I mean,
but
my dad too. I mean, yeah, he was an alcoholic, but like, he was a good dad. you know. And
Yeah,
he
for
was
sure,
he
for
was
sure.
I mean, he was great. He would wake up every morning, had our breakfast ready, we, you know, make sure we were ready for school, and he went to work, and he had an impeccable work ethic, and he thrived on what he did because he loved what he did, you know. And my dad told me ever since I was a little girl, it's like, find what it is that you love and do that thing every day, and you're never going to have to work a day in your life. And I
believe in that, yeah.
admired my father for he just loved computers. So he's an electrical engineer and a self-taught computer engineer. And you know, that's what he did. Like he would come home, he would make sure we were taken care of, we had dinner and everything. But then at the end of the day, that's what he did. He did in the computer, and he had his drinks, and he had his books, and he just dove deep into those books while drinking, and he would drink until he went to sleep. You know, but he was amazing because like he had like patents of different things, and he wrote different things, and he was he wrote poetry, and he taught me so much
So
about
he was doing
poetry.
things he loved too.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I imagine, you know, him as a young man, and going out there in the world and experiencing the world, and then coming back, and you know, he had his first failed marriage, and that can impact a man a lot, right? When you have a
Yeah.
failed marriage, and now
sure.
your wife is gone and your child is gone, so of course he got depressed. And then you get in a second marriage, and now this marriage is falling completely apart. I mean, yeah, he was depressed, and he found refuge in drinking. But at the same time, that didn't stop him from being a great dad. Even though he was strict, you know, I'm very thankful for everything he's taught me, and for how strict he was, and for the fact that he did make me cry a lot of times, you know. But
That
one
tough
of the
love.
yeah, it was that tough love. And one of the things, you know, I realized is I really feel like the fact that he loved these women that, you know, broke his heart, really shook his self-worth. So because his self-worth was so shook, he didn't think he could do more or be more. So he just became, he was always a very humble man and a very grateful man for everything he had. And he really taught us to enjoy the little things, you know, going fishing, being out in nature, reading, being at home together, playing cards, whatever it was, you know.
Awesome.
But
yeah.
I just wish, you know, and I think we all do, right? Like, I just wish I knew then what I know now, to tell him, like, I see you, I hear you, you matter, you're loved, and I just want you to know that you're so much more than this. You know?
Yeah.
Because as a kid, all I saw was, I did something wrong, so he's drinking because of me. You know, I made him mad. Or me and my sister were constantly thinking we're upsetting him, you know. And it broke me, because even now, like years later, he still has all these handmade cards that we made him, where he said, "We're sorry, Daddy, for upsetting you," you know. And he would always be like, "You didn't upset me. You didn't upset me." But he was upset because he was so unfulfilled in other areas of his life. And unfortunately, that held him back from being the best version of himself, but it didn't hold him back from being the best dad he could be. So I am grateful for him, and you know, and I'm so happy that now he's married to my stepmom, and he's the happiest I've ever seen him.
Wow.
And he deserves it. And they're amazing people, and they're an amazing couple. And I look at them and I'm like, couple goals, you know, like he had to go through that heartbreak to finally find the love of his life. And now he has the love of his life. And it makes me so happy that he's happy.
Yeah,
you know,
I love that story. It's
because
moving me.
now you look at him and like, he drinks, but he drinks for fun. You know, he drinks whenever we hang out, whenever we're cooking, whenever we're playing rummy, whatever it is that we're doing. He'll drink because that's a Romanian thing to do. I mean, we're party people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
party with Romanian people.
Eastern
Eastern
Europe,
Europeans.
cheap drinks. I've learned that when I was over there. Yes.
Yeah,
Very true.
but he's not drinking to escape anymore.
Yeah, perfect.
You know,
Okay, great.
he's not drinking to escape anymore. And that's what I feel like everybody has to ask themselves. Like, you have to wake up and get in front of that mirror and really ask yourself, who the fuck am I? And what am I doing with my life? Am I truly building a legacy? You know, because a lot of people are like, oh, my kids are my legacy. No, your kids don't even belong to you. But that's like a whole different other conversation. Okay,
Yeah, we'll leave that.
That's a whole different other conversation. We're not even
there.
gonna. We're gonna
Yeah,
leave that
yeah,
for part 2 episode.
yeah.
So we're gonna leave that for part 2 episode.
that's a
But
part
a lot
2
of people think,
episode.
oh, you know, just my legacy is my kids. You know,
Yeah.
on which I'm gonna put like my self-limiting beliefs and everything else on and da 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 da. No, your legacy, you know, is how are people going to remember you, and what did you do to step into your purpose and make this world a better place.
Sheesh. Absolutely. Carmen, just go ahead and host the rest of the season. So, Dr. G over here is spitting all the realness, all the stuff that I read, all the stuff that I think about, all the stuff that I care about. Man, she is spitting so much truth here. You know, from happy to sad to mad to bad to good, whatever it is, like feeling all the emotions. I'm noticing you go through every bit of the emotions as you're going back there to that place with your story. And I told her earlier, I'm going to see this girl on a big stage one day, like speaking to people, sharing her story. And
I affirm that, I manifest that.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, she's on a mission right now with her chiropractic. She's just on a mission to change lives, to help everybody be healthier and just appreciate life.
To really redefine health.
Yeah, redefine health. Yeah,
redefine health. What is health? And a lot of times people think health is just like absence of symptoms, but it's so much more than that. Like where's your mentality at? That has to do with your health. It's one thing to be healthy, and it's another complete thing to be sick. And of course, when you say sick, people think, oh, I have some sort of disease or anything like that. No, but being sick also means holding yourself back because you're not in the right headspace. You don't have the right mentality, and I think it's very important in every single day of your life to like always do your best. But your best is going to look one way when you're sick, and it's going to look one way when you're healthy. Mm-hmm. Right? And I feel like, healthcare, especially here in America, and especially like in today's society, has taken the health out of the care. And just as it's taken the care out of the health, pretty much. So I don't just facilitate the process of reconnecting with yourself as a chiropractor, but I teach you about how is it that you're going to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Teach you about how to talk with yourself, how to think, how to, approach your relationships, how to approach your children. I don't just do chiropractic. I feel like I do it all. I'm a counselor, I'm a psychologist, I'm a relationship counselor, I'm a relationship coach.
You should be all these things.
Yeah.
You've lived one of those lives that you've experienced so much from many different angles and standpoints where you should be the one helping to impact and change other lives. Like you should be the one. I'm so thankful that you are in my life, but I'm thankful that you're here to make a difference and able to impact other people's lives. Because when you first told me that, it might have been the first time I even met you. You were telling me that that it's not only the chiropractic stuff; it's more. It's the human being and how I want them to be, and really just hone in on that. And that's life-changing for me to hear that. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people that really move me in my life, and those that I listen to from afar, whether podcasts or whatever, how they look at how they want to be defined later, right? Like, what impact are they making? Like, how are they making a difference? What are they doing to truly help others in life and their journey and whatnot? And when I hear you say this, I know it's genuine. I know it's coming from the right place, and I see the emotion within you, your delivery with it, and everything. That it just equals. You are gonna make such an impact you don't even know yet. Like, to me, in my opinion, and I know it to be true. And I think people listening to this or watching this will also see that like there's so many great things ahead. You know, you've already accomplished so much and are able to make such an impact now. But I'm just, man, there's no telling what it's going to look like years from now for you. And man, I'm just
gotta keep grinding.
I'm just thankful to be here in your presence right now, because I know you're going to be even more busy here later, where I might not even get this opportunity to interview you. I might have to book it out a year or two, you know, because you're just on the path to super success and to really change lives. And that's something that I want more of in my life, is to have people like you around me. That's why I'm on this journey myself with this podcast and things that I'm doing. It just is one of those things that everybody needs to realize they can make a difference. And you're doing that through how you care for others and how you look out for others. And it's not only your profession, right? It's all of you. Mm-hmm. It's your energy. It's the way you look at things. It's the way you go about things. It's the way you go about, like, who you are now and who you want to become, right? Like, all these things that impact others. It's just truly a blessing to be a part of that.
I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Here we go.